right. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us at this for another edition of Design Conversation. So tonight we have a very old designers, all right, design consultant today. We have Asri Ahmad from KL. Thank you for joining us, Asri. So I'll pass the time to you for you to introduce yourself.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Okay. First thing, thank you so much, Wei. Actually, I'm not from KL. I'm also from Penang, working in KL, missing my Penang food. Today's topic is about the design conversation, design thinking and branding. Now, these two, or a bit about myself. I, by qualification, is an industrial design. And I started working with Johan Design for about 10 years. Johan Design is one of the early design companies which was responsible in designing Malaysia Airlines logo, Petronas logo and whatnot. So from there, I was moved to Bates Advertising to head the design agency. From then onwards, I another 10 years there. And then after that, I moved outside and started my own practice. When I first started, about 4 or 5 small design agencies, I partnered with the other designers. Then I realized that if I were to do just design, my partner would be designers only, then I would know only design. So I've decided to move out and join another partner in event management. But we were very fortunate to be able to have clients like DiGi and Celcom and Astro and whatnot for many years. Then I switched again to product design, and my partner was an engineer to come up with some products another few more years. So finally, I partnered with brand strategies or brand. He was formerly from CEO of Publicis as well as Bates. So you can see the moment I changed partners, non-designers, I learned a lot. I learned a lot new things, and how do I apply design in those various areas like what you call advertising, event, products, and brand strategy. So my belief in multidisciplinary for designer at that time and even until now or even the future, you cannot just be a specialist in one. You must be able to know a little bit more outside your design discipline. That's why sometimes when you talk about branding, which is what we're talking about, design thinking is basically an old system of thinking, but made popularized by Tim Brown of IDEO. So when I was studying industrial design, we learned about how to produce products or design products based on design thinking. And then when it comes to advertising, branding and whatnot, there is a small little similarities. The most important thing, if I may share some slides, okay? Okay,
Yes.
give me a second, yeah? Share screen. Yeah, is that okay? Can you see? Chunwei, are you okay?
No. Can you turn on your slides? Okay, I think Asri's your connection. Okay, so I think we have a little bit of technical problems at the moment. So as usual, you guys can actually leave your questions under the comment section. All right, later on. So Asri will be talking with us.
Is the line okay now?
Yes, Ken. All right, so Asri will be talking to us about design thinking and how it evolves in branding as well.
Okay, so sorry. Don't know, can you see me?
Yeah, can.
Okay, I'm so sorry. I think there's something, connection here that I'm not, okay. Okay, can you see now? Chun Wei?
All right.
Chun Wei?
Yeah.
Okay, can you see now?
No. Is your screen shared?
Yeah, I shared.
All right, so you have to turn on your slides.
Yes, that's right. I'm already on it. Okay, is that on?
Still no. Wait, yes, can.
Now?
Okay, can.
You see my slides?
Yes, can see your slide. Yes, can.
Oh, okay, sorry. Okay, so I can continue, right?
Yeah.
Okay. When you talk about design thinking, when I first started practicing that, and then I found the similarities between creating brands and design thinking. Both are about your audience. So design thinking, the first thing that you do is, as usual, if you, very quickly, I'll just briefly refresh our minds, design thinking. What exactly is design thinking? Oh, sorry, I was just looking through the food in Penang. So nasi kandar, char kway teow all came out. So sorry, I'm just using it as an element of the design. Okay, empathize your audience so that you can define the problems that they face, and you come up with ideas so that you can create prototypes to test, and then you come back again for that full circle. When you say you define, when you empathize, so that you can define what exactly is the problem, only then you ideate. Once you ideate, you test the prototype, you can learn from the prototype to spark new ideas. And after you've done your testing, it will reveal some kind of insights to redefine the problem. So it will keep going on and on. All right, this is basically what design thinking punya concept is. So empathize, meaning to say you have to understand exactly who your audience is so that you can offer them, in terms of branding, you can communicate with them more effectively. We were trained to be, as designers, we were trained to sort of be inspired by nature, by whatever it is. Yes, that's correct. But if you take 2 steps back, you have to identify who you're talking to. I mean, you can't please anyone else. Now you have studies that says demographics, psychographics, and whatnot, but there are also brands that caters for every walks of life, every person. Now, this type of brand strategy, in the mindset, what the brand stands for, is usually attached to the mindset. For example, if you talk about Nike, it's all about doing your best, whether you're an 8-year-old or you're an 80-year-old. Just do it. Okay. So those are one of the few things that you understand athletes or people, normal people, when they want to do sports, they just sort of procrastinate or say, can I do it, can I not do it? So this brand itself, if you shows that you can do it, if you just put your mind and soul toward it. So empathize, you define the problem, you come up with an idea, prototype and test. Okay, basically, I run through very quickly. This is basically what it is all about. Now, a brand pula, there is two different things. Number one, the difference between brand and branding. What are the difference? Some people mistaken by branding, branding, and then a brand is made up of elements that differentiate its identity from others in terms of the emotional relationship to its audience. A brand is more than just a logo. It is the emotional attachment to what that brand stands for. Meaning to say, it can reflect, I'm the user of the brand, so I champion that. But to get that central idea of what the brand stands for, that's the tough part, which is where you have to do a lot of research. You have to empathize on the audience. Who are these people? Understand their habits. Where do they surf the net? Where they do their normal social media, so that you can communicate with them more effectively. So basically, that's what a brand is made up. Now, what are the elements basically? I just ran through with you. Brand is more than just a logo. Now, once you have created that identity represents what the brand stands for. That means the logo, the tagline, or whatever it is that you want those elements to represent the brand. The brand stands for something, and these are the visual elements or whatever elements that represent the brand. Meaning to say, once you see that particular element of that brand, it represents what the brand stands for. Now, image, people get mistaken. Image is basically what the audience perceive the brand to be. Okay. Now, if you manage your identity well, then the audience will have a positive image. But if you don't manage it well, inconsistency, and it involves a lot of other things, then people may not perceive the brand as a positive perception. Okay. Very quickly, I run through again. A brand is not merely a logo or graphics. A brand is also naming. You have to have a name that identifies the brand. Basically, for example, Ramly Burger. Ramly Burger started so long ago, and then until now it is surviving. It's doing so well by the word Ramly. The name itself is already a strong brand by itself. Okay, the tagline, for example, sungguh enak dimakan begitu sahaja. So they come up with something that reflects the brand, which is basically it's sungguh enak dimakan. Just without any butter, nothing, you can eat it by itself. But to come to that tagline, it takes a lot of research, a lot of what we call the empathy towards who are the people who wants to eat. They want to have bread, what kind of bread, what kind of people, who are these people they want to meet. This is what they come up with. Shape is also part of an identity of a brand. The famous Coca-Cola ribbon, you see this ribbon, you know it is Coke. Color, Petronas, I had the privilege to work on this many years ago when it first started, Petronas logo, and I was involved in the petrol stations, the livery sign, as well as its application of the logos, part of it lah. Sound also, remember the sound? Right? The bisikan sound. Okay, that famous whisper during Ramadan. And of course, the smell, of course, none other than Roti Boy. You pass by Roti Boy, you will always smell. Those are part of their brand identity. Okay, so not merely visual, but it covers all sorts of senses, what we call the touch points. And of course, taste. KFC has got 11 types of herbs and spices. This is what they claim, right? Sorry. Okay. Whereas branding, very quickly, I'm looking on the perspective of a designer, not on the real marketing experts and whatnot. Branding is basically part of a marketing and communication effort to differentiate itself from others in terms of what the brand stands for. That means they communicate consistently what the brand stands for. Okay, through those elements that you saw earlier, that represents the brand. That represents what the brand stands for, which we call it the central idea. Every brand got to have a strong central idea that differentiates itself from whatever there is in the market. Okay, basically, I covered my presentation, and maybe we could discuss further. Okay.
Right. Okay? Yep. Thank you. Very interesting. Okay. First of all, in your slides, I can notice that there is this thing called Reka Negara. Can you also describe a little bit about what Reka Negara actually do and what's the function of Reka Negara?
Okay. Okay, Reka Negara was conceived, I think, about 5-6 years ago. I think. The reason is very simple. To promote multidisciplinary, we don't have any organization that what do you call it? If you have associations, for example, Rega, which is Wakaf Reka Graphic, I'm one of the founding members. The association, it focuses merely on graphic design. Then we have Pereka, which is Persatuan Reka Bentuk, which is Industrial Design Association, focuses on industrial design. Then of course you have interior, you have all. Everyone focuses on that particular industry. But there is none at the moment that champions everything. So Reka Negara is a small little contribution that we can give to the creative community, which is basically free of charge. We've never charged them. And then we invite people, experts in the field, to come and share their experiences. So that as a designer, if I'm a graphic designer, I'm open up to architecture, to arts, to fine artists, to interior. We have invited quite a number of people, which is basically professionals. So in a way, what I've experienced during my career, I've been exposed to architecture when I was doing my internship. I was doing my internship in Hijaz Kasturi. I purposely want to do architecture so that I have a different perspective of what it is. And then, of course, Reka Negara has been contributed by so many people behind it, made up of various volunteers, and we invite people from the industry. And unfortunately, because of the lockdown, we can't have events face-to-face. We try to do online, but sometimes the interaction between audience and the speaker are the ones that's giving that mood to share. So online now, I'm the one who's talking, but nobody else can talk with me. So it's got to be interactive. Okay. Basically, that's what it is.
All right, very, very interesting. Okay, now when you were talking about brand and branding, I think today there are lots of people who were confused, like what you said, like they were confused about brand and branding, and also whenever we talk about branding, people would only think about logo, From your explanation, it involves a lot of things, right? It involves the memory, the smell, the sound, and so on. So, do you think that collaboration is the word today in design?
It's a huge word. Yeah. Collaboration is a huge word. because you cannot be handling everything yourself. To build a brand, it requires a lot of areas, you know. Branding, just to be on a quick this one, if you have found the central idea of a brand, okay, that means to say XYZ brand, it stands for something. It could be a product, it could be an organization, it could be a service, okay. So that brand, apart from it must communicate to the market that what exactly this brand stands for, apart from providing products and whatnot. That means to say, one good example, basically, if you say, when Apple came out, Steve Jobs started Apple. That time, the technical what do you call terms are very complicated to a layman. Meaning to say the RAM, the memory, the pixels, the everything. So the whole idea of Apple is to simplify things. That's their basic central idea. Okay, that's your central idea. How do you, from that central idea, out comes products. Okay, you can see before the iPhone, there was this iPod. Before that, we have our Walkman. Remember, we have to rewind, we have to play, we have to, so many buttons. But when it comes to the iPod, it's just one single button to simplify your experience. You know, you don't have to apply. Now, once you have that product or services, you have to prove your central idea, which is simplifying life. The communication, all right? If you look at the billboards that they have, communication, most of them are basically taken on an iPhone 7. That's it. Very simple headline. It doesn't tell you what megapixel and whatnot. It doesn't complicate things. And then when it comes to the interface, it has got started using icons and whatnot, right? It's very, very friendlier to make things easy. And the third one is environment. These are the factors that can deliver what the brand stands for. So Apple Simplify, if you go to Apple Center, you will find one huge table, but 4 items on the table, or 4 or 6 items. Why? They don't want you to complicate your choice when it comes to which one to buy. But if you go to Laureate, there'll be hundreds of products on one table, correct? So they want you to take your time. And the fourth element that can communicate or can deliver what your brand stands for is what we call behavior. Behavior is the attitude, the salesperson. Those are very important, touch points. They don't, if you go to Apple Center, they don't push you into buying. They just say, take your time, play with the thing, and then decide, so that you can make your decisions simple. So those are those basic idea of what it is all about. But everything goes back to empathy. It must understand who your audience, what problems this particular brand can solve, what can they deliver. So in terms of communication, it's the same thing. So when it comes to collaboration, you will work with interior designers for the environment. You work with the communication experts, from social media to advertising to billboards, to communicate what your brand stands for. And behavior is when you do training. You must imagine you go to Starbucks, the first thing they say, welcome to Starbucks, and then they ask you for your name, personalized, and they ask you to sit down, enjoy the free Wi-Fi, enjoy the electricity. For Starbucks, it's basically sense of belonging. So that's their central idea. You come in, you feel welcome. They focus on the environment. So of course, training, the barista needs to be trained to deliver that central idea, which is make you feel you belong to Starbucks. Because first place is your home, second place your office, the third place they want you to stay in Starbucks. There is a cross between home as well as office. But now, of course, everybody works from home now and order Starbucks through Grab.
From Grab,
so
okay.
yeah. So
All right.
collaboration means, yeah, you work with a lot of other people. You need to know basically the overall thing that you are.
Yeah. So basically, we need to understand also, right, the needs of that brand, right?
Correct. That's right. That's where empathizing what the brand is all about. And then the challenges for designers, basically opportunities and challenges. If you have challenges in terms of what you call graphic designers, you can see a lot of clients now applying apps. Apps. You can use apps. I don't need any designer. I can just do this. I can use Canva. I can use so many things.
Okay. Yeah.
So correct. So what happened to the designer? It becomes like they are like technicians. I want this size. I want this color. I want this one. So designers need to uplift their knowledge. They need to understand the business, the client's business, need to understand the client's customer. This is where the empathy comes in, so that they will see designers not merely executioners, but they are also thinkers who can be in line with what the client's brand strategy is. So we need to understand all those things, or what we call the left side of the brain. Okay, the right side is our artistic, our creativity and whatnot. But before we start designing, you need to understand the left side of the brain, which is the analytics and the research and whatnot. And then baru you keluar, oh, I'm talking to 18-year-old audience, so I have to come up with a design that appeals to the 18-year-old if the product is meant that way. So those are the little things that you need to empathize. And then once you have produced, you ideate, you come up with the solution, and then of course you create a prototype and then you test. Now for branding, the test is actually in the market. When you get feedback, for example, FMCG, fast-moving consumer goods, Nestle, for example, there's a lot of products that fail. They tested in the market, they put it in the market, and it doesn't work, and then they take out and then they improve it. So dari segi branding, it is still a design thinking process, even though they are already in the market, because you can see, oh, this is not very popular lah. This what you call Maggie with muruku or whatever lah. There's a lot of failures, but whichever one which is good, that's where they will continue with the production. So again, design thinking in terms of branding. I think there is a question.
Yeah, there's a question, yes. So questions from Omar.
Yeah,
so
Omar.
Can you use design thinking to build a country image?
Okay, that's a very humongous, big question. Of course, I mean, again, the image, the country image. Okay, what the country needs to be, again, image is just the perception of the audience. We need to create an identity of that country. How do you create identity? It depends. Do you want to create it globally or internally? Meaning to say, if it's meant for locals, then you have to understand who are the locals. Meaning to say, who are your audience? We are multiracial, multi-religion, and whatnot. So if you want to create the identity of this country so that the world will perceive it as a multiracial country, for example. All right? So that is the image perceived by people from outside. But internally, we have to work on that, if that's the central idea. All right? So, of course, design thinking is not about design alone. It's the process. It's the SOP. Right? Empathy, again, just now, empathy, define the problem, and then ideate the solution, and then you do a prototype, and then you test. So, of course, it is a process not necessarily meant for just designers, anyone, the process. So again, when you talk about collaboration, as for my case, my partner is the strategic area, the analytical area, so that I will have to build a bridge between strategy to creative. To build that bridge, I need to understand on the left side of my brain first, the analytics, the findings, and then only I can start creating, appealing to the what the brand stands for. I know I'm not so sure whether we have much time to elaborate further, but that's on the surface. Yes, does that answer your question, Omar? Of course, design.
Yeah, I think yes. I think the biggest challenges over here is when you ask designers to do analytical stuff, right? So
what?
Right. So when you ask designers to be analytic, right? That is to some designers that is one of the hardest part for designers, because designers, when they comes in, they always think that, okay, I'm coming into a creative industry and I should do wow, like visual, wow colors and all these things. But as soon as they step into the industry, they realize that it's not like that. So they have to start to, like what you say, like to use your left brain and your right brain. Both side of your brain has to be like this. So how do you think that designers can actually learn up to do more analytical work, to be more analytical?
Well, most, designers, they are analytical, but they analyze design. Meaning, I check on Pinterest, I check on whatever Google Pictures or whatever design that I can check, and they analyze which design appealing to them and sesuai and suitable. Yeah, they were analytical in your mind also. But if you were to get out of your your creative box, try understand the business of the client, especially marketing, because the graphic design or communication design is the deliverables. We deliver what the brand stands for. So you have to understand what does the brand stands for to deliver through visual, through design, to communicate. It is something which we are crafting that message so that it communicate very well. It's not merely just buy one get one free or buy anything or whatnot, but you have to work with copywriters, you have to work with marketing guys, you have to work with the people who understand selling and everything, and at least you know that you are not just following orders. If the guy say it is meant for 18-year-old just now, and then his client dictate by using certain serious picture, then you understand the 18-year-old, they are more adventurous. They're searching for their identity perhaps. So you need to communicate through your design something which is more like experimental or something like that. But you need to have that knowledge. What does an 18-year-old like? How are they thinking? Then only you can start. But of course, when we were in college, we were asked to get inspiration from nature, from there and everything. Okay, one good example, I just want to show you. When we were doing Malaysia Airlines, I think I've repeated many times this story, Malaysia Airlines. During that time, all of the competitors, SIA, Cathay Pacific, Philippines, including Malaysia Airlines, our logo is anything that flies, a flying object. So that all the plane, airline have got flying object. Because it represents the business of flying. That's why it's fly. Okay. But then comes Virgin or Air Asia, there is no flying object. Why? Because it represents the brand. Yeah, Virgin is about, it's not, it has got a record, it has got everything, but then you got travel and everything, but it doesn't represent the flying object. It represents you, for you to associate the brand Virgin as something which you are daring enough, gung ho. If I fly Virgin, that shows I'm a person who really want to do some adventurous.
Yeah.
Correct. Exactly. That's where what do you call the founder, what's his name, Virgin, he just flew down out of space, right? Yeah, Richard Branson.
Yeah, Richard Branson.
He represents a personal brand. He represents what the brand stands for. He fly, he dive, he does everything. So it's something which is, I'm Virgin. I've never tried this before, but I'm daring enough to try. So it reflects that brand central idea. If you travel Virgin or not, you are a person who are gung ho. Yeah, so something of that sort. So, of course, we designers need to go beyond design, because you can be a specialist. But it's good to know the others as well, the non-design, because it is all related. When I first moved in from Johan Design to Bates, we are an integrated company. It means Bates Malaysia has got advertising, we've got design, which is this one. I've got retail design, and then we have PR, we have other aspects of an integrated services to the client. But what holds everything together is the brand strategy. The brand strategy is what you stand for, and then it is communicated or applied on design, on advertising, on so many areas, like I mentioned earlier. I hope that.
Yeah, very, very interesting, very insightful.
Yeah, it's too short a time for.
Yeah, I think if we wanted to talk about design thinking, it's going to take like one whole day of.
Yeah, it's a subject by itself.
Session, yeah. So, with your experience, what do you see the differences of graphic design from last time and today? What do you foresee the challenges that comes to the graphic designers today?
Okay, if we focus on crafting alone, we may be replaced by technology lah, apps. I think we started in the first design school started by ITM, UiTM, which is about in 1967. I think after that, 1968, I think MIA also established itself, one of the oldest schools. So how many years already we have gone through, evolved throughout the thing. But because of the technology, if we just focus on crafting alone, then whatever AI or apps can do the same thing, but AI or apps cannot do the thinking. The thinking is where the left brain starts to analyze your whatever we talk about, the design thinking aspects. Only then you will be able to. You don't talk client. If you talk to the client based on just design alone, client will see it visually, and they will judge by visuals. I want you to make it bigger, smaller, color, this, change here and there. But if you talk about understanding the client's customer, and you will say, this color is what I find your customer likes. Most of the time, client may have a certain research findings about who their customers are, and you ask for that. understand. Maybe they have done their research, because research you can buy also sometimes, which market, which segment, which category. But if they don't have, then you have to do your own little research lah. And then you can, you can tell them, hey, based on my research, this is the color, this is the character of the thing, this is the color scheme, this is the feel that the 18-year-old likes. But you can only do that if you do the non-design aspects lah. But are you willing to? Again, there are colleges that I know, universities nowadays, they are teaching not only design, they are also collaborating with the marketing department, School of Marketing, School of Mass Communication, and they start coming up with a project. So that's a good start.
Yeah, correct. I think over the years in colleges we can see things started to build up on itself. I think a lot of teaching methods also come into place where like what you say, collaborating with other areas like marketing and businesses, right? I think another thing about design thinking is also when you talk about design thinking, people only think about, because the word design is in the design thinking word itself. So people always think that design thinking is all about arts and design, right? But in reality, it's not about that. True?
Yep.
Right? Yep. So design thinking is about how you innovate, how you find solution, creatively, right? So any advice to students, any advice to graphic design students who still has no idea, like I have seen also some of the students who do logo design, they only focuses on the design element itself, like the font, for example, the font, they will just pick any fonts and put it in, I also just have a friend who asked me about trademark and registered, asking me that, her friend has this client, that has problem registering the logo. When they showed me the logo, only I found out that that's why, that the logo has a normal font, like just an A, and that A is just a normal font that you can find from anywhere, and the registration is rejected because of that. So I think, do you agree that as a designers, we have to tell our clients, we have to actually give our client a form of awareness, like what is right and what is wrong?
Yep, I totally agree. That's why it is easier if you were to talk about the design principle or principles of design, elements of design to a client who don't know about design. To them is foreign. What do you mean by asymmetrical? What do you mean by, those are elements which is alien to them. But if you understand their marketing terms, learn what the marketing terms, and deliver them through your design, then they'll make sense. Then the client say, oh, you're talking my language now. Oh, no wonder it has got to be this color, because, those kind of things. So you need to know more than just aesthetics or principles of design, the marketing aspects. But the reason why they come and see you as a graphic designer is for you to help them market their products, because the last final touch points is the design aspects, apart from a product or whatever it is. But the most, if you ask me, what should a designer do? Number one, they have to differentiate themselves. There are thousands of designers out there. Differentiate yourself among because if you interview a student from a certain college, let's say Equator, I'll be seeing the same folio, meaning to say, of course, subject matters are the same, but subject matters different, but the project may be the same. All right. So how you differentiate from your colleague if you want to apply for that particular job? So, of course, they are more than just a diploma or degree. There's also areas where your personal interest is, which is basically what we call personal branding. I champion for this. I like certain things. For you, for example, it's about toys, it's about character and everything. Yeah. So that differentiate you. But you can also do other designs as well. So there's something which is people will remember you, and you position yourself at that. You represent that thing, the brand, urban creatures, for example. So otherwise, you'll be the same as anybody else. And you'll be competing with apps, you'll be competing with AIs, and yeah, that's differentiate.
Yeah, correct. I think the dilemma over here is that people would say, "Oh, now with the apps and everything, we're gonna go out of business." Like you say just now, like if you can have something that differentiate yourself, you don't have to be worried about about all these apps. That is. It's basically a tool to help you as well, to actually simplify the process of your work, right?
Yeah.
So
it's getting tougher out there.
Yeah. And also with this pandemic that is happening today, I think design jobs has also expanded, right? To more areas to look at. Right.
I strongly I think if you see the opportunity post-COVID as a designer, okay, where does the opportunity lies? It doesn't matter whether you're a product designer, graphic designer, or whether you're a social media or interface UA. The biggest opportunity now is about sustainable design. Sustainable design is something, if you as a designer wants to move further, 5 years from now, look at sustainable design. If you design something, make sure it's has got those elements of sustainability. I don't have to go deeper into that. I mean, you can Google up and find out what exactly it is. Green design, sustainable design, circular design, donut. Those are things that trying to save the environment, social aspects as well as the economic aspects of this. We've been trained to just design something for economic reasons, to make money. But now you have to consider the environment, the social aspects as well, because that's why climate change happens, And designers, I'm not talking about just graphic designers. According to Tim Brown of IDEO again, he mentioned that there are about 160 million designers. That includes architect, interior, and everything in this world. And we are the people who will be determining the future, because we design products, we design all that, and then we design packaging that uses materials that may be harmful to the earth. It's a long story, but think about that as a designer.
Yes.
Beyond, if you want to survive, you have to do more than just designing aesthetically.
Yeah, correct. I think, like for myself, I'm also looking at the intellectual property, of what I did. Like you can design the characters, but how are you going to place, or how are you going to position that character in the environment, or in the public, in the public perception, So I think that is also one of the most important thing in design, right?
Yeah, it is also very important, but there are other opportunities. I'm sure you have heard about the NFTs.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's another area, your character, but then you got to have certain values. certain thing that differentiate you among the others, that people can relate. People can relate. Again, that's what the central idea of your brand is. Can relate and then say, hey, I want to buy that using cryptocurrency lah. So the value can go up if you want it to be that way. That's another ball game altogether lah. But technology is so fast that whatever you're learning in college now, in 5 years' time, may change.
True.
So you have to update yourself. I mean, education in universities are basically fundamentals, which you can apply on other things as well, design thinking as well. But you got to have more than just that. I mean, it's so accessible. I mean, you go to YouTube, you go podcasts and everything. There's so many things that you can learn, new things. That's what I think we should. Because it took me how many years to change my partners, to learn new things, to learn the things. Now you just Google. You want to know about architecture? Is there? Anything is there. I took the long journey back.
I mean, it's good that you mentioned about NFT. NFT is basically a very different ball game. It's a very different genre of people under NFT, right? Like myself and few other artists, we were in NFT, and every day we look through and there. I mean, if you miss one day talking about your work on NFT, there are thousands or millions of other NFT works will be stacking up, up on that ladder. So I think so for designers today, you can't actually say that technology is not important, right?
Oh no, of course.
It doesn't matter what you do, technologies is still one of the most important tools to enhance what you are doing, right? So so because in lots of colleges also, we can see that students will start asking you, hey, what software do you use, instead of how do you come up with that concept, so these are the kind of questions that you will get, right? So I think before we go, any advice to the students that we have to prepare them to go into the real world?
The real hard world, eh?
Yeah.
Okay. Frankly, it is something which you have to start from scratch lah. You can't expect if you're a degree holder, you go out there and then you consider pay as the main thing. It's not about the pay. It's about the opportunity that you can learn from whichever company that you join. Now, for those who are a little bit more braver, they can start their own business. They call it creative entrepreneur, for example.
Yeah.
So sometimes you can produce your own products, like you have urban creatures. You can pursue if you want to. Right? I mean, your brand, you build a brand, and then most importantly is you start talking to non-designer friends. Not necessary you just mix with, once you're out there, well, you can have your own designer friends as well, but do mix with others as well. Learn from them, marketing people who are in the business, and they are trying to encourage creative entrepreneur. Okay, what the future lies is basically, it's entirely up to you. No more. When I remember my time, I graduate immediately snapped by companies. At that time, there's not many designers. There are no even apps. So you just grab. And you can choose. Wow, I can go here, there, then advertising agencies, you pinch you here and there. Now, wow, I tell you, the competition, how many design schools are there in the country, how many universities, how many graduates, and then not talking about the competitor from your apps, your client themselves, so much. But it's entirely up to you to choose what kind of company. Sometimes it's good to do something which is not necessarily an agency. It could be a client. It could be a restaurant. It could be anything, because you will be learning the business of it to equip you. But it's a long journey. But yeah, all the very best. And then there are opportunities out there if you work. But nothing beats hard work lah. You can say work smart, yes, but in the end it's still blood, sweat, and tears lah.
Okay. All right. Okay, so thank you so much, Asri, and I hope all of you have got a very good words of wisdom from Asri.
I hope, I hope it's not so complicated as because those are two big words, lah. You know, I mean, just on the surface only, but it would create some kind of interest. I hope, and really appreciate you inviting me over. And I apologize if it's not what people wants to hear, but this is basically what it is, lah.
No, I think this is a very good session. So I think if we have the opportunity again, of course we will have you to come in to to give us a longer session with design thinking, so that everyone would gain a knowledge about what design can do beyond what they imagine what design is,
Yeah. I just want to quote something from Design Council UK, that people, any company that has got design as a leading strategy, they're doing very, very well. The economic aspects of things, if you are a designer, but you have to be up there thinking more than just what a crafting is. So there's a good potential future for designers if you equip yourself with more knowledge. Okay, that's all I can say.
All right. So thank you so much. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being with us today, Asri.
No worries.
All right. No worries. Thank you so much. All right. Thank you. Good night to everyone. So we will see you again in the next session. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. All right.